So this was only my second experience with LSD and it started in school. It was a Friday and I was sitting in 5th period English. In this class, I sat next to my drug dealer who was also a friend at the time. I remember I was already planning on buying about 5 tabs from him after school, but before that I went ahead and just took half a tab in class. I did this because we were having a festival the rest of the day after lunch for seniors, so I took half and I was just sort of tripping. The festival was kind of boring and I was just waiting to leave and meet with my friend after school. So once school let out, I was able to drive because at this point I had no visuals and I met with my drug dealer and then with my friend. This whole time I was still in the headspace pretty well, just not visually tripping. When I picked my friend up from his apartment, he had literally just got kicked out by his aunt. Perfect for the setting, right? But he wanted to take his tab anyway, so he took his tab and I took mine. We then had the terrible idea of driving to the mall real quick and letting the LSD kick in. I remember after about 30 minutes passed, I started to pick up visuals again, but much stronger than before. We were sitting there in the food court eating orange chicken while I started to see the dots on the table slowly dance around and create patterns. This made me happy because I was starting to think it was just bunk acid. As these visual effects started to pick in, we wanted to store in the mall that is known for their trippy environment and odd miscellaneous objects. So by the time we made it in there, we were starting to trip fucking balls. We decided we needed to get out of the building and to a safe area, so we made our way to the car. Colors were amazing, and I'm sure the bright neon all over the mall definitely helped. So we nervously made our way past the crowd of people and several cops. We finally made it back to my car. We sat there for probably a good 20 minutes doodling on my notepad and just jamming to music. Despite the stressful environment, we just escaped. We were having a very awesome time. It was also my friend's first time tripping, so watching his initial reaction was pretty entertaining. But this is where it kinda gets all crazy, and poor decisions were made. I realized, or at least I thought, that we just can't sit here all afternoon tripping, so I wanted to get us to a good place to trip. So how do I do that? I drive on the interstate, tripping balls. So we hopped into the interstate and started heading forward to my part of town called the Highlands. This part of town is ironically well known for drug culture there. We didn't go to my house though. Instead, we just pulled off a random street, got out of the car and started walking, and we were walking to get lost. We didn't care where we were going. We were letting the LSD guide us. The trip at this point was still getting more and more intense. By the way, I got us there in one piece and I did not wreck the car. As we walked in the streets, we randomly found ourselves surrounded by trees and nature. This confused us at first because, due to drugs, we really kind of forgot sure where we were. But we shook it off and ventured further into the woods. It was beautiful here. I could see all the trees and vegetation in my visual move together in perfect harmony. Eventually, after hours of wooded trails, me and my friend found ourselves in a large open field and we saw a road up ahead, so we went that way. As we approached the path, I realized we were in the park right near my house. This made sense. So from here, I was able to get us back to my car. There we sat on the curb and chain smoked for hours, waiting for visuals to calm down. By this time, the sun had just about set and I was so fucking sunburnt. I mean, red as a tomato. I'm a ginger, so that happens sometimes. Once we had come down from our visuals, I drove us back to my house where my mum was waiting for me. I wasn't tripping anything though, so I paid it off fine. Then me and my friends went back to the port to smoke some pot. Now at this time, I had mixed cannabis and LSD, so I was not aware how much of an effect the combination can have. So we sat there and smoked a couple bowls until me and my friend realized we were full blown tripping again, and the visuals were even more intense than before. I walked into the kitchen from the porch and my mum standing there, and as soon as I saw her, her face morphed into the sun, and it was beautiful. I realized that this was my subconscious displaying my love for my mother. Her boyfriend came out to the porch where me and my friend were sitting, and I kept talking as if everything were normal, and I looked for the next opportunity to get me and my friend out of there because he's terrible at covering stuff up. I finally stuck my way out of the convo and then asked my friend to meet me in the kitchen. Right then, I made him go up to my room and I quickly followed. It's crazy how neither of us has ever freaked out during a trip. The rest of the night, we just tripped out in my room and invited a couple more friends over. So, in conclusion, I took acid at school, tripped in the mall, wandered off into nature, and came back and tripped right in front of my mom. and it most probably was the happiest moment of my life doing this shit. Thanks for watching, guys. Please like, comment, and subscribe.